Okay, so we've set up our variable so that every time we shoot one of these things, we get a score. We just now need to get it set up to show that on a heads-up display. So what we need to do in order to do this, first things first, we need to go up here to Window, and we need to turn on the world settings, okay, which generally they're off by default. So if I click that, you'll see them over here next to details. If you already had them, then and they're on already, then that's fine. But if not, you need to turn them on because we need to access this section here called Game Mode. And then when you toggle down Selected Game Mode, we have these settings here, which you can see one of them is called HUD Class. Okay, and we can change that to the new HUD that we're going to be creating. Okay, these two that are here already are just default things that we're not going to be using. All right. So if we look in our blueprints already, you've probably already noticed that you've got first person game mode and first person HUD. Okay, so those things are already there for us. That's what this is. But what we need to do is to right click again in the empty space here next to it, go to the bottom section called User Interface, and go to Widget Blueprint. Okay, so it's a different kind of type of blueprint, but a widget type. Okay, so where we can design what our heads-up display is going to look like. Right, and I'm going to just call that I don't know, my game widget. Okay, refer to this one as a widget because it is, even though it is the HUD that's going to be there, the widget is visually what you see, and the HUD is what is actually how it's working behind the scenes a bit. Okay, it will make more sense when we go through it. So for now, go into the My Game widget that you've just created, so double click it. Okay, and obviously this screen is a bit different to the other blueprints that we've been creating so far. You can see we've got this sort of window here, and that, as you can imagine, is the screen. Everything that we wanted to see is going to be built inside it. Okay, so at the moment we literally just need the most simple thing. We just need one little numerical value. Okay, so that is going to be up here. You've got all the things that you can add. I think we want that to be text. Yeah, so just drag in text, and you see it says text block by default. You can make that a bit larger, and then you can go over to the right hand side to the settings for it. So where it says text, I'm just going to put in 0 for now. Oops. Okay, so it just says 0. And then things that you can change, so you can go in and change like the color of that. So I might want that to show up orange or something. And also if you go into font, you can change the size of it, which is probably going to be the most useful thing at the moment. So you want it nice and big. Okay, move it over. You can have it wherever you want actually. You might want it at the top, bottom. Maybe I'll put it in the top right, up there. Okay, so that's fine. So make that look how you want it to. Then once you've done that, up the top here it says anchors. All right, anchoring it, you need to anchor every element to the screen, because depending on the window size that people are going to be playing on, the position of that might change. It's kind of similar to in web development when you have a responsive website. So if it's being viewed on a phone or a PC monitor, then it's going to be responsive to the screen that you're viewing it on. That's kind of what this anchor system is doing. Okay, so I'm going to anchor it to the top right. In fact, actually, I'll anchor it to the middle. It's just safer to anchor everything to the middle. And then the middle is always going to be the same place, and it's going to be that distance from the middle. Okay, if for some reason it goes off screen, then we can come back and fix it and change it to the top right or something. But for now, anchor it to the middle, and that should work. All right. So again, you've got a compile option up here, so you need to make sure you keep that updated. So just to make sure this appears on the screen first, we haven't set it to update yet. Just want to make sure it appears. So we're going to go over to this first person HUD, double click it, and by default I think it's got a bunch of stuff for like probably VR, stuff that we're not going to need, so just kind of ignore that. So right click in the empty space up here, and we need the event begin play. Okay. So if you remember when we were talking about the different events, so this event is going to trigger when the game starts. Okay, so as soon as the game starts, we want to create widget. Okay, so it's going to create a widget, and it's going to be, there it is, my game widget that we created earlier. So select that in the class. So when the game starts, it's going to create that specific widget, because you might have different widgets depending on what you want to be on the HUD at a particular time. Sometimes you have I don't know, instructions or like a particular thing that you've got to do that might appear on the game. I don't know. So that's where you have the different classes there. So you want that one to appear, and then after that you have to put in add to viewport so that it actually adds it to the screen, and then this target returns to that. Okay, compile that and you should get a tick, which is great. So that's what this HUD is doing. The HUD is the main HUD, but the widgets can change. So at the moment all we need to do is we just want it to show this widget. That's all it's going to do. Simple. Okay, so compile that and then it should set. So when we push play, see in the top right hand corner there, I've got my 0, my orange 0. So the HUD is displaying on the screen. And wherever I move around, the 0 stays in the same place. But I can shoot my boxes and the 0 doesn't go up. So go back to the widget that you created. Okay, so at the moment we just typed in 0 and it will always stay as 0. So and you might actually want like an instruction on the screen, so you could put text up in the corner saying, I don't know, shoot all the boxes. Something like that for some reason. Don't know, up to you. But this one, and that will always stay, that will never change. So will this at the moment, but we want it to change. So where we've got text and we put in 0, see to the right of that there's a little option called bind, and we need to do this thing called create a binding. Okay, and as soon as you click that, it takes you to a new screen. Okay, so this is going to bind that value to a variable. Okay, so from here, we'll drag that out and we want to cast to first person character. There it is again. So remember we did that before, so that's where the variable is stored, so we need to cast to it. And the object is player character, so get player character. And then from here we want to get the score. Okay, so it's getting whatever that score variable was reading at that current time, and then just send that up to the return value and you'll get this little box appear automatically. Okay, so again, hopefully that's not too confusing. You can switch between the designer and the event graph up here. Right, but we know that this get text 0, we can change the name of it. Maybe we'll change it to get score, so it makes more sense. So get score, so it's looking in the first person character, it's getting that score variable, and it's returning that into the return node so that it knows what to display on the screen. It's going to display whatever this is reading at any given time. So compile that and you should get a tick and close it down. And then we push play. So there we go. It's gone up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that will just continue to go up. You can see my shoot all the boxes thing in the corner. Okay, which always stays there. can have that if you want, and then the value goes up. Okay, so hopefully that should work for you. Okay, if not, you might have to go back through the videos again and make sure you've done everything correctly. So just to quickly recap, we've got our enemy type here. So what we've done is in fact, we'll start with the character. So in the character, we made this variable called score, which we set to start at 0. It's an integer, so it'll go up in whole numbers. Then in the enemy type, we said once it gets shot and it gets destroyed, look in that character and set the score to +1 of whatever the current value is each time. Okay, you obviously could change that if you wanted to. Then in the widget, we created a value in the corner, which that value looks in first person character, gets whatever the score value is, the variable at any time, and returns that to display it to the screen. Okay, and then in the first person HUD, it is at the beginning of the game displaying that widget to the viewport. Okay, so there's a lot going on there, but hopefully again, I wouldn't expect you to know how to just do that on your own from scratch at the moment, but if you hopefully understand the theory and the logic behind what's happening there. And the reason we wanted world settings up originally was because, well, sometimes you need to change this HUD. So if we'd created another HUD, you can change it up here, and sometimes you need to do that in order for it to display on the screen. But at the moment, it is set up to work with what we've got here already, so it's fine. You can go back to details again if you want to. Okay, so we go File. If you haven't sort of seen this already, see when I've created things or I've edited them, there's a little asterisk in the corner, and some of them don't have that. That's because things have happened in here, changes have been made. It may have been compiled, which is fine, but it hasn't been saved. Okay, so it's quite good practice to always go up to File and Save All, and it will save anything that's had any changes made to it. And now see, none of them have asterisks next to them, so I know they've all been saved. Okay, so by this point you should have a little sort of map created. You might have changed it a bit. Some interactive lights going on. You've got some stuff that you can shoot, and you can shoot them and you get a score. Okay, so once you've done that, you could spend some time modifying your level layout a bit if you wanted to, putting in the boxes in different places, doing different things with the lights and stuff, whatever you wanted to do. You know, it's totally up to you at the moment. Be creative with it, but mainly at the moment, just make sure everything is kind of operating how it should do. Okay.